we have our restaurants and now they have geolocation, so the location is legitimate. How do we get to the restaurants and write a review or even just look at a restaurant? If you take a look at our application right now, there's really no good way to do that. These portions right here are hard-coded right now, so they're not taking us to the accurate, they're not representing accurate data. And there's really nothing here to get us to a restaurant. And the only way you can do it is by typing in the URL directly. You don't want to do that. So what we need to create is some sort of search functionality so that folks can come in here, search for Italian, Asian within the Miami area and get all of those restaurants. And so I'm thinking what we'll want to do here is get rid of all of this info and put in our own search form, put in our own search fields. So if we go into our file here, our files, we'll want to first go into our routes, and in here do collection, do get search, end it. And what that'll do if we do a rake routes here is it'll give us a search path within our restaurants. So right here is what it gave us. And if we go into our restaurant model right here, excuse me, let's go into the restaurant controller first. So in our controller, we'll want to define a search method, a search action right here. And we'll leave that blank for now. But if we go back into our model, this is where all the magic's going to happen. This is where all the logic is going to happen to iterate through all of your restaurants and get us the appropriate restaurants based on what you searched. So if we do is self.search, find those params, so the parameters are what you're passing into it. And we'll say restaurants equals restaurant dot where the category ID equals the parameters that you pass into it. And we're going to change that into an integer. So I'll explain this in a little bit more detail once we're done here. So restaurants here equals restaurants where name, like, or description, like. And this is doing some SQL querying right here. So this is all SQL right here. And you go, let's go find the params by the search. So we have to do this twice, and actually don't forget the wildcard % right here. What this is doing, this will go and find the name. So this parameters right here is being used for the name right here. And so now we need to create another one for description. And only do that if the params search is present. So this first params goes to the name, the second one goes to the description. And did I spell present right? Did not. Now we need to create another one that goes and finds it by location. So restaurants.near whatever you're passing into it, location within 20 miles we'll say, but only if the location is present. And then return the restaurants. So these, the params search and the params category and params location, we're going to be defining those on the search form, so that on the search form it'll grab that information that you put in there and pass it into this search method right here. But essentially it's going through finding the restaurant with a category ID of, for example, Italian. And for all of those restaurants that have a category of Italian, go find out where the name is like and the description is like whatever you type into the search bar. And then from there, there's going to be a location field as well that you can type in there. So like Denver or Miami, and it's going to find all of those Italian restaurants with a name of Tom's Bistro within 20 miles of Miami, for example. And then it'll return that, all of that in the results here. So it'll just give us this restaurants variable right here. So now if we go into our controller, what we need to do in our search method to say restaurants equals restaurant search params. And then these params are what's coming in from right here, our search method. And now we need to go into our home page, and this is where find your new home. So this is where this form is right here. Get rid of everything in the form, or get rid of the whole form. So form all the way down to right there. Okay, so get rid of the form. And then this is where we create our own form. So we can say form tag search restaurants path. So we're pointing this form to the path that we created right here. And we want to make sure it's a get function. So do F, end it. And let's create a text field of search restaurants. And actually, do we need to say search restaurants? What did we call it? I think we just called it search, so we don't need to say search restaurants. Right, so this is just param search. So we'll just call it search. This initial value is going to be nothing. And we'll have some placeholder text that say steaks, burgers, hot dogs, etc. Copy this. Need one for location. Placeholder is going to be Denver, Miami, etc. That's fine. And now we need to select tag of category. And options for select are going to be the category. Find all of them so that you can map them. And then get the name, get the ID. And now we need a submit tag of search. So right here, this search is being passed into here. You're finding the params right here. The location being passed into the params location right here. And the category being passed into right here. So this is where all of this information is coming from. It's coming from the form that we've defined right on our search form on the index page. So let's go into our application and see what that's done. So do a refresh, and there you have it. It's giving us our search form. Now we can pretty it up by doing a few things. Just to get this working, we're going to inline style it. Now this isn't something that you'll actually want to do in a production environment, but just to make it look a little bit prettier and for the sake of this course here, we're going to inline style it and do a refresh so that it pulls it down a little bit. And then in our search button, let's make it a real button. Class btn span to btn real to form btn large. There you go. Gives us the search method. Now doesn't matter, let's just click on the search method here, or the search button, and it's telling us that we don't have a search view. A template is missing. So we need to go into our views here, restaurants, new file, and then save it as searched html.erb. So now when we go into our application, if we do a refresh right here, it'll give us this. And it's really not showing us anything right now because we haven't put anything in here. So at the very least, let's just put in something here. If, or for each restaurant, do restaurant. And we can say restaurant name. Do refresh to make sure that we have it working. So there you have it. We're going to clean up this page in the next video. Right now, we just want to make sure that it's working. So this is Bill's Chinese Takeout because we searched for Asian. Now if we search for Italian, it's going to give us Tom's Bistro. So we know that it works. So essentially what we did was we added a search path to our restaurants model right here, our restaurants paths, created a search method right here, which went through and found the restaurant by its category, found it by whatever you enter into the search form, and by location. Had to create a search action right here on the controller that took the restaurants model and took the search method right here that we have in our model, found it by the params. And that way, in here, when we create our new form on the index file, the home page, we're passing in those values into our search view right here, because we're pointing the form to go to our search restaurants path is pointing it to the search HTML ERB right here, which we found and we've created right here. So we know that it's working, and we've created our own search method. We didn't have to rely on a gem to do our search for us, because those gems are a little overkill for what we're trying to do. We did a lot. In the next video, what we're going to do is to actually clean this up a little bit on the search page so that it looks a lot nicer and it's actually functional, so that when you click on the name, it'll actually take you to Tom's Bistro's show page so that you can read reviews, write a review, and just get some more information on Tom's Bistro. So we'll do that in the next video.